Okay, so here we are. It is January I believe it's the 30th. Is that correct? Yes, January the 30th. And market recap after close. So 3:28 Mountain Time, 5:28 Eastern Time. And what you can see here is crude oil today was up, dropped a little down, came back up, dropped way down, and then came back up to have a very good day, up over a percent, 1.32% increase. So that helped oil in general. You can see Marathon Oil, which has results coming up in 14 days. I think this has room to move up to the 25 to 28 range towards or after earnings, depending on how things go with them. CVE, one of my favorites when it was down at 19 or $20. Still a favorite. I think, it moved almost 50 cents today, 43 cents. So it's up in the 22 range. I think this has the potential pre-earnings and post-earnings. So their earnings are coming up on February 15th, so 2 weeks. It has room, I believe, to go to $26 to $28. Exxon, which announces, I believe, on Friday of this week, 3 days from now, it made a big move today, up almost up more than 1.5%. So again, still, I think a lot of room to move up into the low teens, in the 110 to 120 range. Valero took off today and continued its rise. It kind of stagnated between 10:30 a.m. and 1 p.m. But then at 1, it caught a bit of a wind and it started to climb, and it just climbed very steadily through to the end of the day. So great stock. This stock, even looking 5 days ago, was down at 129, 130. So at 129 to almost 142, we're up close to $12 in only 5 days, which is almost 10%. So that's a perfect example of a stock that when you are tracking it and it starts to turn and you see the right signals, that can really take off, and you can get in and out of that. I mean, I was in and out of Valero today probably 8 to 10 times as it took peaks and valleys, certainly towards its low here in the 137 range, and then out up near its peak, and then back in somewhere down in the 120 139.26 range, and then out again in the 47, and then back in again in the 18 to 20 range, and out again here, in again here, and then out, and then in and out as it went up and climbed throughout the day. So great example of, even though in one day the stock gained 2.54%, you could probably make 5%, if not more, in terms of percentage on that stock throughout the day. The other thing to monitor is the volume. So again, the volume is extremely high. The average is 3.12 million, and we were at 4.3. So the other day it was almost 5.5 million. So close to double, not quite. And today it's maybe 50% above its average volume. So when you see interest like this, it's generally a positive indicator, especially as it has upward momentum. So that's a good sign on Valero. I like Exxon. I think, again, Exxon's a good play right now. Con Ed has been moving in and around the 193 to $88 range. I think it's probably worth a hold at this point. If you own it, I think it could go up. And then if it does go down, I would certainly consider buying it in the 88 range. Humana is slowly coming back. So day by day, it's clawing its way back after it had some big $50 drops, two of those in the last month or so. That stock's going to come back. I've been very leery lately of the tech stocks, so I've sold out of most of my tech stock positions waiting earnings from this week. And we saw Microsoft came in with strong earnings, but not super strong. And because it's already at its all-time high, we saw it drop post market after announcing better than expected results, and it's off $6. So not uncommon when a stock has a big run up to earnings that even when it hits earnings, if it doesn't blow the earnings out of the water and really talk about positive forward momentum and growth, then you can see a decline there. As we move down again, AMD, sorry. AMD announced okay earnings, but then thought that revenue may slide a little bit going forward. So it's off almost $11 post market. Going down a little bit further, we have, I believe, Google announcing today as well. And they, I believe, missed estimates. I haven't really looked into that too much at this point, but they're down $8. NVIDIA is off 11 post-market. So definitely seeing some pullbacks in the tech sector, and probably a good time to just take some profits and wait and see what's happening in that space, because there has been a huge amount of run-up. And there'll likely be a pullback, if it's not starting now, starting very soon, that will provide an amazing opportunity to buy back in at a lower price, like it's on sale. And then finally, down into the banks and financials, JPM, one that I talked about pre-earnings. It dropped, it went up to 176 and then dropped same day when it announced earnings a couple weeks ago. It's now back up to 176, so I unloaded my positions in that. Tomorrow is the Fed announcement, where Federal Reserve Chairman Powell is going to be talking about the two-day Fed meeting that ends tomorrow and what they've discussed, with the outcome being what their thoughts are around federal interest rate hikes or drops. Most people aren't expecting a drop in March that they were originally. I think there's still a chance for a very small drop in March, but certainly drops coming later in the year. The size and volume of which is to be seen, remains to be seen, but I think that's something that we can certainly expect. Goldman had a good day. A lot of messaging out there in the market about U.S. bank regulations, and how if there's changes made to those, some of the larger banks like Morgan, Goldman, M&T, and others will probably, and JP Morgan will probably come out in a more beneficial position than some of the smaller regionals. I'm still loving Bank of California. It's had a great run. It didn't do so well today, but I think it has the potential to get up to $18 to $20. It's the earnings that it announced this quarter were phenomenal in comparison to most other banks. So if it continues down that trajectory and being able to optimize cost reductions and implement cost efficiencies as well as increasing revenue, I think that has a great deal of potential moving forward. So that's where we are today.